only people who never make mistakes are people who don't make decisions. And we're not perfect all the way through, but we've leaned into this opportunity, this challenge as an opportunity to get better.
Merritt Paulson will no longer own the Portland Thorns of the National Women's Soccer League.
What has been built with the Portland Thorns is something I'm as proud of as I am of anything. It's shown the world what women's sport can be.
After 3 NWSL championships and 10 years of ownership, Paulson is now selling one of his 2 professional clubs in Soccer City, USA.
I believe that at this point in time, to best capitalize on the foundation that's been built and put in place over the last decade and continue the growth trajectory that the Portland Thorns has been on, that the club will benefit from a fresh voice at the league office at the ownership level.
While Paulson will continue to own the Timbers in Major League Soccer, he is seeking a female-led ownership group to guide the Thorns franchise into the future.
Over the last decade, I've been a driving force at the league office to help sustain and grow the NWSL, and the Thorns need an owner who has a powerful voice in the league level. And I do believe my voice is compromised.
One of the many admissions Merritt Paulson told me as we sat down in the Tanner Ridge area of Providence Park. I then asked him about how under his leadership, the Thorns front office became one of the prime examples of systemic abuse around the league.
I do, as I've acknowledged publicly, very much regret that we didn't do things better in 2015 and that we made mistakes in 2015. We also got some critical things right in 2015.
What the Thorns got wrong 7 years ago was not being truthful and open with the public as to why former head coach Paul Riley was let go, stating at the time that it was based on his desire to work closer to home on the East Coast. What Paulson says they got wrong was not making sure Riley didn't coach again after claims of sexual harassment by former Thorn player Mona Shim. For the first time, the Timbers and Thorns owner told us in his own words what happened in September of 2015.
Immediately after getting our first ever complaint of sexual harassment for the then coach Paul Riley, we put him on leave, we investigated him, we terminated him for cause, and we communicated everything we knew in that investigation to the league and the league office, which effectively was U.S. Soccer at that point in time. Of the 3 parties who knew of that complaint, we were the ones who acted and who terminated him, and I do really wish on behalf of players and everybody else that the league had done more. But we did have failings. We didn't announce the termination for cause transparently to the public. We followed our legal advice and how we announced that. We shouldn't have said anything positive about Paul Riley at all. He never should have coached another day after he was fired. And I think a lot of questions have arisen. How could he have coached? And we didn't know about Sinead Farrelly's abuse story until the article was published last year. But we knew enough from our investigation that there wasn't any cause, whether it was professional courtesy or congratulating somebody on a win, et cetera, to say a single thing positive about him. We did have failings, and I have deep regrets there.
So many efforts were done in the past year plus to make positive changes. What do you look back upon and go, man, I wish we would have done that differently at that time and we wouldn't be to this point?
It's a tough, question, Nick. I mean, there's so much I wish if we could, I will tell you that only we've continued to try to put our best foot forward, to do our best with the best of intentions, and that's what I'll continue to pledge.
Paulson says he will continue to work with the new owners of the Thorns for the club's own training facility to be built, while pledging $1 million to the new NWSL Players Safety Office.
We've got passionate fans in this market as well who care deeply and have louder voices than teams in other markets do, and I'm actually grateful for all that. But yes, it's painful, but ultimately, doing what's right for the club is something that I've always been motivated by. That's always been my intent, for right or wrong, and I'm trying to do the right thing by the club now in making this decision, and by continuing to own the Timbers, I'm actually in a position to much better set the Thorns up for success in this market under very favorable terms. So it's basically a seamless experience that fans and players won't see a difference.
1 year after the article in The Athletic exposed the failings from the top of PTFC, the report released this October by former acting U.S. Attorney General Sally Yates stated the Thorns were, quote, uncooperative in her investigation. I asked him about that.
It's unfortunate that our cooperation was characterized as Sally Yates characterized it. We just disagree completely with that characterization. We did over 6 hours of live interviews, person to person with Sally Yates and her team, gave them all the documents they requested. We were by definition cooperative and did everything we could to help her in her investigation.
Paulson looks forward to more favorable facts being revealed from the club's internal investigation and another by the NWSL Players Association.
I think it's been so challenging and difficult, but as challenging and difficult as it's been for us, it's been more challenging and difficult for the real victims in this scenario. But I've never been more challenged. I've never learned more. I've tried to lean into doing better and learning. I'm always trying to do that. And I do believe that will have a positive impact on us moving forward.